Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your... Hello?
Hello?
Dan?
Hello?
Steven?
Hey!
Photo News Fix. This fix is brought to you by Fro366, which is sponsored by Canon. Last year, Canon sponsored me giving away 365 prints, all printed on the Canon ImageProGraph Pro 1000 inkjet printer. This year, they are at it again, sponsoring Fro366. It's a leap year, so I get to give away one more print. For full sweepstake rules and to get entered for free, head on over to canon.us/Fro366. First up, let's kick this week's fix off with some new rumors shared by Canon Rumors. They are reporting that we might see two new EOS M camera bodies in the second half of 2020. Has anyone out here besides me actually used an EOS M camera?
No.
The EOS M50 was a fun runaround camera, and the M6 Mark II is actually a very versatile little guy. Or girl, depending on whose hands it's in. My issue with the M series is glass. You can adapt all your EF glass seamlessly with an adapter, but the native lens options are few and far between. Now, I personally think that the M series needs to be canned.
Right now I need canned tuna, okay?
Now, don't get me wrong, I like the video and images that those little cameras capture, but this camera should have an RF mount, just like the Nikon Z50 has a Z mount.
Salty!
If Nikon can squeeze the Z mount into a crop sensor body, then there's no reason why Canon can't do the same with the RF mount.
We gotta find a way to make this fit into the hole for this.
On a side note, I do think that the Z50 is one of the best crop sensor cameras I've ever used. Would you like to see the mount change on the EOS M? If so, let me know down below. Speaking of Canon RF glass, Canon has filed multiple patents recently that include an 85 1.8 macro, 100mm f2.8, 100 f2 for the M cameras. Shit, they had to go and do it, didn't they? They're planning on prime lenses with an M mount. I think that's stupid.
I'll take two. Hey, put me down too, man. I get one.
And the last lens is an RF 8mm f4 circular fisheye that will be capable of seeing behind itself. Kind of like I can shoot pictures of my own ass. You could shoot your own ass because it's so big.
Nice ass.
Now that's something Dan would have said, but he's not here. I'm here all by myself, which reminds me of a song. All by myself. I don't wanna be up. Great, just what we needed, a new generation of fisheye photographers. Now the good news is, if that lens does ever come out, that's where Dan is supposed to yell, "When are you coming out?"
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I'm here all by myself, just like I just said.
It's just me, myself, and I.
Now, if that lens ever does come out, it will be too expensive for those amateurs to buy. Will any of these four lenses see the light of day?
Get them to daylight.
My answer is yes. Yeah, I do. I think they will. Next up, Fuji is hoping to challenge full-frame cameras with cheaper, medium format GFX cameras. Now, we all know I've been super harsh on Fuji for their small sensor cameras and skipping full frame altogether.
Bitch, bitch, bitch.
But I have and will continue to give them props for the GFX line of cameras.
Kudos to you. That's wonderful.
Not that that's going to change anything with them sending me sample gear. In a recent interview, General Manager Toshi Ida-san said, "To make the GFX a mainstream product, we need to continue our effort to make it more affordable and probably smaller and lighter." Now, if you're wondering what's the cheapest GFX camera you can get, it's the $4,500 GFX 50R, which has the same price point as a Sony A92. But of course, they have two different types of audiences. Now, I'd love to test out a GFX in a run and gun situation because I want a bigger sensor.
That's what she said. Or he said.
Now, here's an issue I have with Fuji's messaging. The last time I was at a show and at a Fuji booth and uttered the words full frame, the tech rep jumped all over me with, "What does that even mean? It's a made-up term." Well, sir, full frame in my mind refers to 35mm sized piece of film. Thus, full frame sensor is the same freaking size. So if you want to apply that logic, Fuji shouldn't be calling their GFX 50R medium format, since a medium format film frame clocks in at roughly 61 millimeters wide, and the 50R comes in at just under 44 millimeters wide. By that logic, Fuji is making crop sensor medium format cameras. Take that, Fuji rep. Pew, pew, pew. Nonetheless, I still want to try one out. And finally, Sony has just released firmware 2.0 for the A92, which has only been on the market for 4 months. Now, firmware 2.0 brings some pretty interesting updates, and the one that they clearly stole from Canon. First, there's a new high-frequency flicker function that helps you further reduce flickering of artificial light by finally adjusting the shutter speed. Now, they did put up a video of this working in action, and it is pretty cool. If you got the time to finally adjust your shutter speed, I don't know that I can do that during a concert situation, but maybe I can. I'll have to try it out. Now, this is always a welcome update, especially in mirrorless cameras where flickering tends to be an issue. Second, you can now activate or deactivate Face and Eye Priority AF by pressing the same button that it's mapped to. They've also improved FTP transfer, added the ability to display the camera's MAC address via a QR code, and now supports displaying the focus frame when using Sony's remote camera tool. No, you're a tool, Dan.
I know you are, but what am I?
He'll probably put in some Tool song because he likes Tool. And finally, the biggest update of all that they clearly stole from Canon is the ability to close the shutter when changing lenses. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, anytime we've asked a Sony rep about this feature, they always told us all the reasons why they wouldn't do it or shouldn't do it. Well, I guess they found some reasons to do it because they've done it. Personally, the fact that the sensors are exposed on the Sonys has never bothered me, but if this keeps dust off the sensor and doesn't hurt the shutter's lifespan, then I'm all for it. And there you have it. That's your super lonely photo news fix this time around. To check out the last fix, go ahead and click on the screen right here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya. Bye. I'm all by myself. See ya.